Life has a way of teaching us lessons we never asked for. And one of the hardest lessons we face is when the people we thought would stay forever are suddenly gone. It feels like betrayal. It feels like abandonment. And sometimes it feels like the end. But let me tell you this, when God removes people from your life, it is never by accident. It is always by design. There are doors you were never meant to open. There are conversations you were never meant to hear. And there are hands you were never meant to hold for too long. Some people are placed in your path only to teach you, to guide you for a season, or to show you something about yourself you would have never seen otherwise. But not everyone is meant to walk with you to the finish line. And when God sees danger in the shadows, He will not ask for your permission to protect you. He will remove, He will block, He will silence, and He will distance. Because His plan for you is greater than the pain you feel in losing them. Understand this. The people who walk away from you are not the ones who define your worth. Their absence does not diminish your value. Their silence does not weaken your voice. Their betrayal does not end your destiny. What God has written for you cannot be erased by anyone. Sometimes the very people you thought were for you were secretly against you. And when their season ends, it is a divine release, not a punishment. So stop holding on to what God has already let go. Stop chasing those who made it clear they could not stay. Stop questioning why the door closed. Because closed doors are often the loudest forms of protection. You see, storms are not always sent to destroy you. Sometimes they come to clear your path. And the removal of certain people is not rejection. It is redirection. The truth is, you cannot step into the fullness of your destiny while carrying the weight of people who were never assigned to your journey. Their energy cannot handle where you are going. Their vision cannot comprehend what God is building in you, and so He clears the way. He strips the crowd until you are surrounded only by those who are truly for you, those who will water your growth, not poison your roots. It may hurt now, but one day you will thank God for every no, for every goodbye, for every silent betrayal, and for every door that never opened. You will look back and realize that the loss was never a loss. It was preparation. It was protection. It was love in disguise. So if you find yourself standing in the emptiness left behind by those who walked away, lift your head high. Don't beg them to return. Don't cry over the ashes of what was. Instead, trust the one who sees what you cannot. Trust the hand that never fails. Trust the plan that cannot be broken. Life is built on seasons, and every season has its people, its lessons, and its purpose. Some individuals come into your life like a sunrise, filling your world with light and warmth. But just like the sun, they were never meant to stay in one place forever. They come, they shine, and then they move on, making room for a new chapter, a new horizon. The problem is we often confuse seasonal people with lifetime people. We cling to them believing that their presence is permanent, when in truth, they were only written into one chapter of your story, not the entire book. And when that chapter ends, holding on does nothing but delay your growth. You must understand that every person who walks into your life is carrying something, an experience, word, an action, that will shape you in some way. Some teach you love, some teach you patience, and others teach you pain. But all of them, even the ones who hurt you, play a role in molding you into the person you are becoming. They are not accidents. They are not mistakes. They are lessons wrapped in human form. Yet, when their assignment in your life is complete, God will not hesitate to remove them, because keeping them beyond their purpose will only weigh you down. Think about a tree in autumn. Leaves fall, not because the tree hates them, but because the season demands it. The tree cannot carry old leaves into winter, And it certainly cannot sprout new growth if it refuses to let the dead ones go. In the same way, you cannot carry every person into the next season of your life. Some are meant to fall away, and that is not a sign of failure, but of growth. God knows what your future demands, and He knows who cannot survive the winter of your journey. Many times we cry over people who left, not realizing that their departure was a blessing. We replay conversations, we wonder what went wrong, and we beg God for answers. But the truth is, nothing went wrong. It simply ended because it was supposed to. When you learn to see relationships as seasons, you will stop forcing permanence on what was only meant to be temporary. You will stop trying to turn a passing moment into a lifetime bond. And you will begin to trust that just as seasons change, so too must your circle. Some people walk with you to teach you how to stand. Some people leave you so you can learn how to walk alone. And others show you glimpses of love so that you will recognize the real thing when it finally arrives. But none of them are wasted. None of them are without purpose. They are pieces of your journey, fragments of your story, reminders that not everything is meant to last forever, and that is okay. Clinging to someone whose season has ended will only drain your spirit. You cannot water a plant that has already withered and expect it to bloom. You cannot beg someone to stay when God has already closed their chapter. And you cannot tie your worth to the presence or absence of another human being. Your value is not determined by who stays, it is revealed by what you become after they leave. Every person who walks away is making room for something new, something stronger, something aligned with the future God has prepared for you. When a door closes in your life, it is natural to feel rejected. It is natural to wonder why an opportunity slipped away, why a relationship ended, why a friendship dissolved, or why something you poured your heart into suddenly came to a halt. The human heart interprets closed doors as failure, as proof that we are not good enough, not worthy enough, or not strong enough to hold on. But what if I told you that those closed doors are not rejection at all, but protection in disguise? What if I told you that every shut pathway is a shield against something you could not see, something that would have harmed you if you had walked through it? We see only what is in front of us, but God sees the entire picture. He sees the motives hidden in the hearts of people. He sees the traps laid in places that look appealing. He sees the future consequences of choices we believe are harmless. And because He loves you too much to let you walk into destruction, He will close the door. He will allow people to turn their backs on you. He will cause opportunities to slip away. And He will even remove things you thought you desperately needed because His vision stretches far beyond your sight. What you call loss, He calls protection. What you call rejection, He calls rescue. Think back to moments in your life when something didn't work out, when you were devastated by an ending. At the time, it felt unbearable, but later you realized why it happened. That relationship that collapsed, it saved you from years of heartache. That job you didn't get, it pushed you toward the career you were truly made for. That friendship that ended, it freed you from an influence that was quietly pulling you away from your purpose. Closed doors are never punishments. They are divine interventions. They are God's way of saying, I love you too much to let you settle here. I have something greater ahead. The danger is in believing that every no is a rejection of who you are. When you take it personally, you begin to doubt your worth, to shrink your confidence, and to question your path. But a closed door is not about you being less. It is about your destiny requiring more. It is about aligning you with people, places, and opportunities that will elevate you, not drain you. If the door shut, it means what was behind it could not carry you to the future you are meant to walk into. Closed doors test your trust. They force you to decide whether you will lean on your limited understanding or surrender to a higher plan. They strip you of control so that you can learn that control was never yours to begin with. They make you feel empty for a moment only so that the right things can fill the space. And though the pain of rejection is real, the truth behind it is freedom. You are being freed from what would have chained you even if you thought it was what you wanted. It is easy to thank God for open doors, for blessings, for breakthroughs. But it takes real faith to thank Him for the doors that shut, for the people who left, for the opportunities that vanished. It takes vision to see that those very moments were not accidents, but protection. And though you may not see it now, every closed door is a setup for something better, something stronger, something that will not collapse under the weight of your purpose. Every destiny has a cost. And one of the greatest costs you will ever pay is separation. It is not always the kind of separation you choose willingly. Sometimes it is forced upon you, and sometimes it feels like the ground beneath your feet has been pulled away. But the truth is this: you cannot carry everyone with you into the future that was designed for you. Not everyone is capable of walking at the pace you must walk. Not everyone has the vision to see what you see, and not everyone has the discipline to stand where you are being called to stand. To step into your destiny, you must be willing to let go of those who cannot grow with you. There are people who are comfortable staying the same year after year, repeating the same mistakes, clinging to the same excuses, and living inside the same fears. If you tie your journey to theirs, you will never rise beyond the level they have chosen for themselves. Destiny requires growth, and growth requires separation. You cannot stretch higher if you are surrounded by those who refuse to move. You cannot evolve into the person you were meant to be if your circle resists change. Sometimes the hardest decision is realizing that love does not equal alignment, and familiarity does not equal destiny. The people who cannot grow with you will often resent your growth. They will question your choices. They will mock your progress. They will belittle your vision, not because you are wrong, but because your transformation confronts their comfort. Your courage exposes their fear, and your discipline exposes their laziness. It is easier for them to pull you down than to rise with you. And so they disguise discouragement as concern, they cloak jealousy as advice, and they dress fear as wisdom. If you are not careful, their voices will plant seeds of doubt that strangle your potential before it even blossoms. Separation is not cruelty. Separation is clarity. It is the recognition that not everyone can carry the weight of the calling on your life. You must ask yourself, are the people around me pushing me closer to my purpose, or are they pulling me further away? Do they water my vision, or do they poison it with negativity? Do they celebrate my growth, or do they shrink from it in silence? When you begin to walk with destiny in mind, you will notice the difference between those who belong in your future and those who only belonged in your past. Think of an eagle. When the eaglet is ready to fly, the mother does not keep it in the nest surrounded by comfort. She stirs the nest, makes it uncomfortable, and forces the young eagle to stretch its wings. If the eaglet clings to the nest, it will never learn to soar. In the same way, God will stir your life. He will disrupt your comfort, and He will separate you from the people who keep you grounded, because He knows your wings were made for higher altitudes. Separation hurts, because it feels like loss, but in truth it is gain. You are gaining clarity, gaining focus, and gaining strength. The absence of certain people in your life creates space for the right people to arrive. The ones who will walk with you, grow with you, and lift you higher instead of weighing you down. Your destiny cannot afford unnecessary baggage. Your calling cannot afford silent enemies disguised as friends. And your future cannot afford people who refuse to grow while you were created to rise. Every time something leaves your life, it creates space. At first, that space feels like emptiness, like a wound that cannot be healed. You feel the weight of absence, more than the promise of what is to come. But emptiness is not the end. It is preparation. It is the clearing of the ground so that something greater can be planted. It is the removal of what could not serve you so that what will serve you has room to arrive. Too often we mourn the loss so deeply that we forget what loss makes possible. We cry over the people who left, the opportunities that faded and the doors that closed, not realizing that these very removals are the soil out of which blessings grow. Think of a farmer who clears the land. At first it looks destructive. Trees are cut down, rocks are removed. The earth is torn open. To the untrained eye, it looks like ruin. But the farmer knows that in order to plant a harvest, the ground must first be cleared. In your life, the removals you face may feel like destruction, but they are only preparation. God is clearing the field of your soul so that the seeds of greater blessings can take root. If nothing were removed, nothing new could grow. Sometimes blessings cannot enter because your hands are too full of what was never meant to stay. You cannot receive what is waiting for you if you are still clutching what has already ended. Holding on to the wrong relationship blocks the right one from finding you. Holding on to a dead opportunity blinds you to the open one standing in front of you. Holding on to bitterness and regret leaves no room for peace and joy. Every removal is not just subtraction, it is addition in disguise. Something has to go so that something better can come. But here is the challenge. Blessings rarely arrive at the same moment. Things are taken away. There is often a waiting season, a silent stretch of time when it feels like nothing is happening. That is when doubt creeps in, when you are tempted to believe that the removal was permanent loss. Yet this is the very moment when faith must rise. The blessing is on its way, but the space must remain open for it. Trust requires patience. You may not see the answer today, but if the wrong has been removed, it means the right is being prepared. Look back at your life. There are things you once cried over losing, but today you thank God for their absence. There are people who walked away and left you broken, but their departure led you to discover your strength. There are dreams that failed, but they redirected you towards something bigger than you ever imagined. You could not see it then, but every removal was not just about what left, it was about what came after. You would not be who you are now without those losses shaping the path toward blessings you didn't know were possible. Greater blessings require greater space. To receive more, you must be willing to release. To carry bigger dreams, you must be willing to drop smaller ones. To welcome true love, you must be willing to let go of false comfort. To embrace purpose, you must be willing to release distraction. The removals of life are never random. They are rearrangements. They are the shifting of pieces in a puzzle too large for you to see, but perfectly designed to reveal the picture in time. Every goodbye is making room for a better hello. Every ending is carving the way for a beginning that carries more light, more strength, and more fulfillment than what you lost.